Coronation Street spoilers. Tensions rise as Becky returns and Betsy lands in trouble. Lisa receives some worrying news about her daughter Betsy, who has spent the night in a police cell. Becky, meanwhile, tries to stir up the situation, but Lisa hits back, blaming Becky's unexpected return for the turmoil in Betsy's life. Actress Amy Cudden has spoken about the possibility of her character Becky coming between Carla Connor and Lisa Swain. Becky, a police officer, has unexpectedly re-entered Lisa and Betsy's lives after faking her own death. Since her return, she has been determined to reconnect with Lisa, who has now moved on and is in a relationship with Carla. In the upcoming episodes, Carla starts having second thoughts about her planned trip to Ireland, concerned about leaving Lisa alone with Becky. Discussing the dynamic between the characters, Cudden described Becky as potentially a threat, but acknowledged that Carla is far from someone who can be easily intimidated. She explained, "If you combine Lisa's lingering feelings for Becky with Becky being utterly obsessed and driven to be with her family, it's like a primal life force. She has to be there. So yes, it's a threat, but the person being threatened is Carla Connor. She doesn't come tougher." Cudden added, "It creates this really fun tension between two determined women, both fighting over the same love. Becky may be a threat, but she's up against someone extremely resilient and tough." Regarding the trip, Carla opens up to Lisa about her worries. Initially, Lisa is hurt that her fiancé seems to doubt her, but she reassures Carla and insists that her past with Becky is behind her. However, the Swains' troubles are far from over. Next week, Betsy finds herself in serious legal trouble, with D.I. Costello issuing a stern warning to Becky. At the station, a police officer reveals that D.I. Costello is accusing Betsy of damaging a police car, resisting arrest, and attempting to assault him. As D.I. Costello threatens harsher consequences for Betsy, unless Becky leaves Weatherfield for good, the big question is, will Becky finally walk away, or will she continue her relentless pursuit of Lisa? Coronation Street scandal. Todd horrified by Theo's shocking actions. Todd Grimshaw has endured a great deal from Theo Silverton since their relationship began in Coronation Street, but his latest behavior may push Todd to his breaking point. Things have been far from easy for Todd since falling for Theo. Initially, he tried to excuse Theo's manipulative and volatile behavior, attributing it to the trauma Theo suffered as a victim of abusive conversion therapy. Todd also had reason to be sympathetic, following the breakdown of his own marriage after embracing his true identity, and the involvement of the unhinged conversion therapist Noah Headley, which further complicated matters and seemed to justify Theo's increasingly cruel actions. However, Todd's shock escalated when Theo's manipulation escalated into physical abuse. Last month marked the first time Theo physically attacked Todd, attempting to force-feed him kebab meat. Though Theo later wormed his way back into Todd's life after being thrown out, the emotional abuse continued and remained highly damaging. A chance encounter with one of Todd's ex-boyfriends in Manchester's gay village confirmed that Theo is a serial abuser, sparking yet another argument between him and Todd, after which Theo vanished. Even knowing how worried Todd was about him, Theo drew out his absence, only returning when he could save Asha Alahan and enjoy the recognition of being seen as a hero, with Todd reluctantly welcoming him back home. As Noah's funeral approaches, Todd claims he cannot attend due to work commitments. In reality, he is heading to a hospital appointment to be checked for bowel cancer. He confides in Billy Mayhew, admitting he can't bear to add more stress to Theo and begging him to keep the appointment a secret. Coronation Street spoilers. Todd confronts Theo after shocking revelations. Thankfully for Todd, a suspicious George Shuttleworth notices that something isn't right and accompanies him to his hospital appointment. Meanwhile, after securing a lucrative contract with newcomer Pete alongside Gary Windass, Theo confronts Billy Mayhew, growing increasingly frustrated when Billy takes a call from Todd and steps outside. The next day, Todd returns home nursing a massive hangover. He explains that he stayed at Billy's the night before and reassures Theo that nothing happened. But his world is turned upside down when Pete unexpectedly emerges from the bathroom. Todd lashes out, accusing Theo of cheating, while Theo remains cold and unrepentant, firing back by pointing out Todd's own secrets. Heartbroken and furious, Todd snaps, demanding that Theo pack his bags and leave. Later, in the Rovers, Theo approaches Todd cautiously, suggesting they try to repair their relationship. Forgiveness is the last thing on Todd's mind, however, and he begins to hatch a plan of his own to get revenge. Deals of the day. Has Todd finally seen Theo's true nature, or will Theo manage to manipulate his way back into Todd's life once again? Coronation Street fans predict major twist in Tim Metcalf grooming storyline. Corrie viewers were left stunned as Brian Packham accused Tim Metcalf's former lover of abusing him as a teenager. Fans now believe they've figured out what could happen next in the ongoing historic grooming storyline. Newcomer Trisha Pinkerton was revealed as the woman Tim lost his virginity to when he was just 14 and she was in her 20s. While Tim has been happy to reconnect with her, his friend Brian has been trying to make him see the truth, that Tim was groomed by the older woman. In Friday's episode, Brian confronted Trisha at Roy's Rolls, leaving her furious at the accusations. Now viewers are speculating that Brian may take matters into his own hands and report Trisha to the police, removing the decision from Tim's hands entirely. Taking to X, fans shared their theories. One wrote, "I reckon Brian is going to report Trish to the police." Another agreed, "Bet Brian reports Trisha to the old Bill." A third commented, "Judgy Brian is not a good vibe, but I don't think he's wrong this time." While a fourth added, "Brian has Trisha fully sussed. Tim needs to keep away from her and stay committed to Sally." Some viewers were also surprised by the setting of the confrontation. One joked, "Look, Brian is right, but maybe Roy's Rolls is not the place for this. Have the convo in the ginnel like everyone else." Brian saw his opportunity the moment Trisha walked into the cafe, casually asking if he had seen Tim around. When he responded that he hadn't, she smiled and asked him to pass along a message to Tim, letting him know she was looking for him. Brian's patience snapped instantly. Narrowing his eyes, he leaned closer and said sharply, "Shall I let Sally know about this as well?" His wife, in case you've forgotten. "I'm not sure she'd be very pleased to hear that you're wandering around, sniffing around after him." His tone was a mix of anger and disbelief, making it clear he wouldn't tolerate any of Trisha's manipulative games. Trisha, momentarily taken aback, tried to maintain her composure, but Brian's words had clearly struck a nerve. "Sniffing around?" Trisha exclaimed indignantly. "I was just passing by and thought I'd say hello to an old friend. There's no law against that, is there?" Brian didn't back down. "There is when it comes to grooming," he shot back. "Sorry, I think you've got me confused with someone else," Trisha retorted sharply. "I know," Brian replied calmly. "Tim told me everything about how you abused him." Trisha looked on, clearly offended. Coronation Street airs Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1, and episodes are available to stream on ITVX.